Welcome to Ronin's Den. Today we have a wonderful topic that we wish we didn't have to talk about, and that is, another Wizards of the Coast controversy. Seems we can't go 2 or 3 weeks without them stepping in it. This time,
What's it? What's it like? What is this? 2 months now?
roughly something like that. This time, it's they're erasing the contributions of people from the credits page on D&D Beyond after they assured the people that they would have their credits there since there wasn't enough room for them on the physical print version of the book. One of our people over on Discord, Joe, brought this one to our attention, and we kind of did a deep dive into it. All right.
Why would anybody believe Wizards of the Coast at this point? Oh, don't worry, we're not going to put your name in the book, but we're going to make sure that it's on D&D Beyond. No, screw you. You're putting my name in the book, or you're not using my contributions. Should have been the answer given. I'm sorry. Like, why do people to this day still give Wizards the benefit of the doubt? That's a tangent, but why are we giving Wizards of the Coast any benefit of any doubt?
It's beyond me, to be completely honest. It really is. So the best article that I could find was over on The Gamer, and if we look over on here, we can see while at Wizards of the Coast. So after D&D Beyond was purchased with numerous books, my digital content team and I worked directly with the book team on the content, reading through the rules, drafts, suggestions, changes, giving ideas, and catching issues, says Lily. This is the person whose credits were removed from the book itself. They go on to say, given that we were contributing to the content in the books, I felt it was a reasonable request that the team and I be added to the credits, but was informed the credits section was already too crowded with the number of people involved, and many of the marketing team had already been dropped from the credits. I felt strongly that anyone actually contributing to what is printed in the book should be credited, though, so they agreed on a compromise that the team would be added to the credits page on D&D Beyond only, as there is no issue with not enough space on the website. Which is true. There's no issue with spacing on a website. You can add as much stuff there as you want. And if we look at a version of this from 2022, and then a version of this from 2024, you'll see that over here in D&D Beyond, on the original print run, Faith Elizabeth Lilly is right here in the credits. On the 2024 version, they are not. They've been removed.
Which, in theory, it seems like that's a small thing, right? But my problem is that that's a very, in my opinion, a bad precedent for Wizards of the Coast. It means that, number one, they're willing to remove you from credits from their product for any reason. Like, this one had no reason. They did not let Faith Lily know. They did not inform the team. They just removed the credits. Number two, what's to stop them from doing this when they screw up, right? Like, let's bring up the Hadozi thing again. What's to stop them from putting something horrible in one of their books and just turning it off when people revolt and being like, oh, that never happened?
Yeah.
I don't like that this is something that they can do. And I don't know if there's an answer to it, because obviously they did it. They don't care that they did it. And it seems like a lot of the community doesn't care either. Like, you had people in your TikTok channel saying, oh, it doesn't matter. It won't affect their careers. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, no,
Of course it's going to affect.
that irritated.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Well, and not only that, I mean, back on the website, they asked about it. Like, what's the deal with the credits? And while they didn't say who they spoke to, they did say that somebody at Wizards said this was intentional as well.
Yeah. If you go to Faith Lily or Faith Elizabeth Lily's Facebook post about it, she says she gives a long, detailed explanation explaining what was in this article. But at the end, she said she reached out to Wizards of the Coast, and the person that she talked to said, "Oh yeah, this was intentional." So what was it intentional for? What, like, why are we erasing people from the book, and especially women from the book? Like, that even seems a little more egregious to me than anything.
Which
We should be highlighting women in the space. We should be highlighting people in the space that are doing amazing things, and we're deciding to erase them and then not tell them.
which I'll
It,
be
it
that
just it
guy.
seems weird.
Yeah, and I'll be that guy when it comes to the D&D 5e community. Like I have no problem uh calling them out on their bullshit, because this is exactly the type of thing they moan about daily. There's not enough representation of women in the hobby. You're not crediting these types of creators. You're not giving them access. You're not representing them. Wizards stripped that representation and people are silent on it. I had somebody say this isn't going to affect their careers in my comment section when I brought this up. I'm like, really? Like, you don't that's like their resume. That's proof that they did this. Oh no, it doesn't matter. People go non-credited all the time. I'm like, that's the case, but like, hey, if you believe that it's not going to affect your career. I worked on the Marvel movie Endgame. Like, I was part of Avengers Endgame's writing script. I'm telling you that right now. I'm not in the credits. I didn't get credited for it. You see, the rolling credits were a little too long already. They had to make sure that they had every other person that worked on it up to and including the catering team. And because I only contributed a few lines to the movie, I got bumped off the credits. But hey, you know what? I worked on the movie. I was there. I was there.
That, like, it, you're saying that in jest, but like that's what that person was suggesting.
Yeah.
Like, they're, hey, I worked on Spelljammer and I did all this. Well, where's your name in the credits? I don't believe you worked on it. You can put anything on your resume. If you can't prove it,
Yeah, and this
it
is like,
means nothing.
and this is the TTRPG community talking shit too. Like, you go to any local game store and you're gonna run into somebody on Magic Nights like, I got a Black Lotus at home. I just don't bring it to the stores to play with because it's worth insert however many thousands of dollars it's supposedly worth that day at the game store. It's like, sure you do, buddy. You and every other person I've met at a Magic Night has a Black Lotus at home. Like, it's the equivalent when it comes to people saying, that person said, "Oh, I worked on this Sega game. I worked on this stuff." Okay, you can't prove that. Was Faith Elizabeth Lilly a author? No, they worked in production. They were a senior producer, but that's a big deal. Like, that's a title that when you go for job interviews, they want you to be able to back that up. And one of the ways you
Yeah.
do that is through
And
credits.
Joe just put in the comment section, it's the equivalent. I have a girlfriend. She goes to another school. Don't you know her? It it's just, like I said, this just to me sets a terrible precedent that Wizards of the Coast at any point for any reason can delete people for no reason whatsoever. Like, say they get pissed off that someone who helped them with one of their books goes and creates their own TTRPG company and starts making books there, and they go, you know what? Screw that person. And they erase them so that they don't have the credit for the D&D books, the big ones, right?
Yeah.
It's a slippery slope that, like I said, one person, yeah, it might not be the biggest of deals, but it's that precedent that really bothers me.
And we were talking before we started recording too. I agree with you. We shouldn't be changing anything post production. Add eteras, add amendments to documents, but don't go in and change. And there was some talk, of them removing two names that I hate saying out loud, Zach S. and Mike Merles from print. should their names be removed? I would even be the person to say no. Like, if they worked on that stuff, their names should appear there. Even if I don't like them and they've done heinous shit, there should be a release by the company distancing themselves as far as humanly possible from them. But flat out erasing content from books, it doesn't sit well with me.
No, it like you mentioned those two people. I'm not going to mention their names again because that's not this video. But to remove them from the credits, to say, hey, these people didn't exist. They weren't part of this at all. That's like hiding the fact that you worked with them. And, you know, maybe they weren't doing the horrible shit when you worked with them. You just make a statement saying, listen, we understand that this person did these things. They did not do that while we were here, while they were with us. They worked with us. We apologize for the things that they've done. We will never work with them again. Simple, just put a statement out, and it's not running away. It's not hiding the fact that, oh, we worked with these people. We don't want people to know that. Erase, erase, erase.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm big on transparency, and it feels like they're trying to hide when they erase those names. And then with this name, Lily, the Lily lady,
Faith Elizabeth Lilly.
Faith Elizabeth Lilly. Jesus, I forgot her name already. It feels like they don't want to give her credit for her contribution. Number one, they didn't want to put her in the book. What's one more line in a book?
Yeah.
Make the font a little smaller. Do something. But they didn't want her in there. Then they compromised. There shouldn't have been a compromise. This is a woman who did a lot of work for your product. You said she's an executive producer. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Senior producer.
Senior producer, why would you remove her? It just looks bad. And I don't want it to sound like I'm harping on it. But what did they think? Why would they think that's okay? And furthermore, why does the community think it's okay?
Because the 5e community, fuck. Nope, that's not this video. That's not this video. But the 5e community is very selective with its outrage, it seems. This is something that, honestly, if it was not D&D, they would be screaming to boycott that company. Like, they would be out there telling people, don't buy that game, don't buy anything from that company. They're not crediting women. They hate women. But because it's Wizards of the Coast and, 2024 D&D is getting released, which we already did a video on that, they're just sitting around going, oh, don't want to see it. It's going to spoil my new shiny game that, is basically just a reprint of everything that they've been putting on Twitter for the last 5 years. Don't distract me from the shiny new toy. So, I don't know.
Joe put in the comments, he goes, the community doesn't want to feel guilty about being excited for the new edition, so they're downplaying the event. I would agree with that if it wasn't for the fact that the same people that are not harping about this are making videos upset that the big YouTube and TikTok creators are being paid by Wizards of the Coast to promote the new edition.
Yeah.
They're upset about that. We're getting a ton of people that are like, I can't believe these people are taking money from Wizards. They're sellouts, blah, 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 blah. And I don't think that's nearly as big of a deal as this. And furthermore, you didn't think they were getting paid? You didn't think people like Ginny D were getting money from Wizards of the Coast? Like, are you nuts?
Yeah.
Like, I've known that for years. Anyone with a brain could figure that out.
If you have two firing brain cells, Ginny D was on the take. That guy that shaves his head with the big bushy beard, who I would just... I can't stand him. I don't know what his name is, but he's just got that smug look that just fires up the Jersey in me every time I hear him speak. He's always like, make this incredibly broken build, man. What you're gonna do? I hate that guy. I really
I know who you're talking about. He's the one that broke the OGL stuff.
I guess. I don't know. Like, he looks like.
But yeah, well, we're on a tangent right now. But
he's got that beard, and he's always doing theory crafting, character build stuff that I just can't
Oh, that's
stand.
D&D Shorts.
Yeah, that guy. Can't stand that guy.
I don't like him either.
But
He's popular, but
obviously on the take.
yeah.
And it's not even like on the take. These people are they figured out a business angle to make money on a hobby that they enjoy. I may not like them personally, but if I could do the same thing, I would. Not gonna lie.
Absolutely. Like, get that money. Like, why would you not want people to make money off the hobby they love?
Yeah, I'll be the first one
Like,
to say, "Hey, look, I'm getting
obviously
paid." But
obviously they're making money. To me, that is less egregious than removing a woman from your credits in your book.
yeah,
And the community does not see that the same way, and I don't understand it at all.
neither do I. But there's not a whole lot else to the story right now. That's the sad thing.
And I want to preface this like we do with every one of these videos where we shit on Wizards of the Coast. I love D&D. I've loved it for years. Eric loves D&D. He's loved it for a long time. It was his personality when he was a teenager. It's been my personality since I was 18. TTRPGs are my life. They're his life. They're our favorite hobby. And Wizards of the Coast is the biggest company in that hobby space. And we don't want them to go away. We want them to be better. We want them to acknowledge the crappy things they're doing, do the right things, and change. And that's why we're making these videos, because we want people to agree that something needs to change and hopefully get a better product out of it. It's not out of hatred. It's out of love for this thing that is not doing what we feel it is supposed to do.
Oh, I think they could take a vacation and we'd be good for a few years without D&D personally.
Well, yeah, but anyway. Yeah, that's about all on this topic. So honestly, my heart goes out to the individuals that were removed from the credits of these books. I hope that eventually it becomes an outrage that people care about and they get their names back in these books, because they deserve it. They worked on these books. Even if I didn't personally like the Spelljammer stuff, they worked on them. And I know that's a lot of work and a lot of effort goes into it. And hopefully Wizards of the Coast will do the right thing and re-put them back into those credits. But for now, that's all we're going to talk about, and that's all we really have to say on the matter. I'm Steve. That's Eric. This has been the Ronin's Den. We'll catch you in the next video.